From Learfield on the Mustangs Sports Network, this is the Pony Express Show with head coach Rhett Lashley, presented by SMU Cox School of Business, your ally for life. Visit coxgrad.com to learn more. Now at Ozona Grill and Bar on Greenville Avenue, here is your host, Rich Phillips.
Good evening and welcome into another week of the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley here at Ozona Grill and Bar. And thanks for joining us on the SMU Mustangs Facebook page. We'll have the head coach coming up here in a few moments. We always start the show out each week with a guest, usually one of the assistant coaches or players, and we got an assistant coach. Let's hear it for cornerbacks coach and co-defensive coordinator, Ricky Huntley. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you being here. 8-1, 5-0. It's all good, right?
It is.
Sixth straight win Saturday night with a 48-25 win over Pitt. Really only 11 points scored on the main defense,
yes,
first
sir.
and second string. You guys had to be pleased defensively with that showing Saturday night.
We were. Our guys executed the plan, put in place in practice throughout the week, and to see them fly around and to see them execute at that level was pretty cool.
We were just chatting about it a moment ago. Did have a scary moment. It was actually on special teams when a guy from your group, A.J. Davis, went down on a kickoff return. Always hate to see that when the ambulance has to come out. That's the worst case scenario. We did get the great word he was back on the sideline before the game ended, not ready to play, but certainly good news for A.J. at that point, and sounds like it's getting better.
Yes, sir. He's got some stiffness. He's still sore, but, obviously blessed to have him back before that game was over, and blessed to see him, being in the training room, getting back to hopefully 100%. But it was good for our guys to see in a scary moment, and so we're very thankful for that.
What's that moment like, the mood like on the sideline? I mean, that's tough in so many areas because after that, you got to get the guys back into play and ready to go.
For sure. Unfortunately, I've been a part of that situation where it didn't go that way, and it was just as scary, and it's scary every time that happens. And so the first thing that you hope for is, you pray that he's okay, that whatever injury that he's dealing with at that moment is not as severe as what we know it can be. It's a part of our game and what our guys do as far as being athletes in a combat sport, and so. Helping them to calm down. Coach Lashley was awesome with that, just making sure, hey, everybody calm down. Let's give them room. Let's let our team work. I thought Steve Floyd and our team, from a athletic training standpoint, did an awesome job of being very, just efficient. They were quick and to make sure that everything was going on the right way. Our guys just trying to control the emotion as much as we can. We got together as a team. We prayed. And ask for blessing in that regard. And so kind of then from there, it's like, all right, we got to reel it back in, let them do their job and take care of things, and then you guys go back to doing, what your job is for the evening. So,
for me as a dad with two college-age kids myself, they don't play football, but still, I've seen things like that happen, especially on the road, and that's when the first time it happened was in 2019. I'm sure Rhett remembers when Kiki Burns went down, and we were at Arkansas State, a season opener, and I mean, it just killed me up there watching this because I had a freshman in college at the same time. I guess it's kind of good. His folks were in the stands, his family, because I saw you and Rhett both talking with his family down there. And a lot of what was done was precautionary on the field, right?
For sure. And, the biggest thing when you got a neck injury or a back injury or anything that could be severe is to make sure that we take all precautions, no matter if that guy says he's feeling great or anything like that. They want to make sure that we do everything we can to prevent anything else from going on. And so our team, the physicians that were there, did a great job of making sure that we did that. We were able to kind of let his folks know, of course they're emotional and they're worked up, but also let them know, hey, these are the things that they've told us that are positive. This is what they're thinking. This is what's going to go on, and then kind of give them the information of where he's going to be from there. So
that did leave you a little thin at the cornerback spot for the rest of the night. We saw a good stretch of Speedy Nettles the other night.
Yes,
you got to be happy to see him progressing and being out there and being part of it in a big game like that.
We've talked to him throughout the season, with the red shirt rule of being able to have 4 games that you can play in. We try to be strategic with him and other guys of what games that they have played in. We knew that was a game that he could be in a position to play from a special team standpoint, and so he was kind of ready to go. And then defensively, you kind of say, hey, all right, this is time to go. and then kind of give you that deer in headlights look for a second. I think his first rep, he was kind of in that mode as well. He lined up probably against one of their fastest guys from a receiving standpoint, and so he had to be really in tune and locked in with the game. He understood the game plan, so that was good. It wasn't like he was learning all of that on the fly, but it's a little different than practice, getting out there and being in it.
He played week 2, is it
yes,
right?
Sir.
Yeah, so
yes, sir.
It's been a while too. One other thing on AJ, possibility we'll see him soon?
The hope is that he'll be getting in and out from the training room, do a good job there. And as he kind of hits each benchmark and they check off the list of anything else, he'll be able to transition back to practice.
All right, let's talk about some more guys in your cornerback group there. And we'll start with Brandon Crossley, a veteran guy for you in that group, a guy who's played a lot of safety here over the years at SMU, now locked in at cornerback. And from where I sit, looks like he's really made that slide back out to corner extremely well this season.
He has. He's done a good job. He's been a leader in the group, on the field, off the field. He's done exactly what we've asked of him. We talked to him about that in the spring, about transitioning and moving. Him coming off of the year that he had last year and it kind of redshirting and being in a position where he could come back. Our hope was that he could be a guy that, help us in all facets of the game, to the field, to the boundary, in coverage and in run support. And he just plays so hard. That's the big thing. When you watch one play, you're going to see him play, and he's going to play extremely hard. He's going to do some things that we don't want him to do, and he's going to toe the line on things. So myself and Coach Lastly have a lot of conversations about that. But for the most part, the big thing that he's going to do is he's going to play hard. When I sat back and watched that game after we were finished on Sunday, and I just watched him for about 8 or so plays, and he spills it. He plays his guts out to the point where he comes on the sidelines, he's sweating, he's tired, and it's just like, hey, I need you to go one more. I need you to take this rep. I need you to do this. And his answer all the time is, it's good. It's good. That's what he says all the time. So if he's saying that, then it's good, and we're going to be ready to rock.
If he's saying only a few words, it must be good.
Correct. Correct. Because he's not going. It's not going to be many times where he's only saying a few words. You know that.
Absolutely. Another guy who I've noticed in games too absolutely plays hard. I see him chasing guys down on the other side of the field is Deuce Harmon. What's he added to the group for you this season?
It's been good to see Deuce kind of become what I think he's envisioned being as a college athlete throughout. When he started at A&M, I know he had a lot of injuries, and that was what he was kind of dealing with and fighting consistently. And coming in the spring, I told him, and I actually told our coaching staff, he and I we butted heads initially because I didn't know how to coach him, and when I say that, his mood, his temperament, all of those different things, I had to get a beat on. And when you have transfers that come in, that's one thing you don't always look at and people on the outside don't always think about. And so once he and I really understood, all right, this is what I'm expecting and asking of you, and then this is what I need you to do, he's accepted that, and he's really blossomed in his role for us this year. And
then Jalen Davis-Robinson also seeing plenty of time there and had great coverage, obviously, on the two-point try 2 weeks ago at Duke. Obviously, another key part to your group in the cornerback rotation.
Yep. Enjoy Smoke, year 2 for him, and so it's still pretty new. He's got to continue to put himself in game situations and give himself the experience of an older or a veteran guy, but he's going to compete always.
And then you got to empty the bench a bit in the fourth quarter Saturday night. It had to be good to see Alexander Rogers, Kyron Chambers among guys get into the mix for you.
For sure. Those guys, they're going to practice hard all throughout, knowing that they may not have the possibility of playing. And to Kyron's credit, these past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you've really kind of seen him mature in just his preparation, right? Because if you don't take care of business Monday through Friday, then there's no way that you're in position to be able to play on Saturday. And he's taken that very seriously, probably even more serious than before. And so to see those guys be able to get out there, get some snaps, move around is always a positive.
You get to take some credit for the safeties too, don't you?
A little bit. Whenever Coach Simons is yelling at anybody else, then I'll take over with them. So
those 4 guys amongst the 3 spots that they play, they all seem interchangeable, and I feel like we talk about them every week when we come in here for this show, every week on the game broadcast, but they've been outstanding, haven't they?
They have.
Those guys.
They have the leadership of 23, Isaiah Wachovia, and then just having Jonathan McGill. When those two are on the field, it's just you feel as a coach that there's an extension of you out there. There's not anything that we're going to see that we're not going to be able to handle, that we're not going to be able to get communicated. And then you bring in Ahmad Moses, who is a big play waiting to happen at all times, and he's able to execute. And then Kale and C.J. Sanders is going to play at a high level at all times. It just gives you a sense of comfort, even with the transition of Brandon at corner and Deuce being new. Those guys just going to reel it all in and take care of business for us.
As a group defensively last week, 3 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, an interception, a fumble recovery. Everybody just seems like they rally together so much on the defensive side. And obviously the turnovers, they definitely rally on the sideline. But it looks like a group that they enjoy seeing everybody else play well too.
For sure. Yeah, they play as a family. They play as a group that like you said, nobody's worried about getting the credit. I go back to 2 weeks ago when we were at Duke. I think one of the things that was big for us, and from a coaching standpoint, that I don't know I've ever seen with a team that I've been a part of, is that no matter what was going on in the game, it was just like, okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. It wasn't, oh, man, this happened, or finger pointing or anything like that. And that's from our D-line to our backers to our DBs. And, those guys in front of us are extremely good as well. So they make it easy for you on the back end for sure. 0
points off turnovers that night was a pretty good trick too.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
You've been with defensive coordinator Scott Simons for a while. You came with him from Liberty. You guys worked together at West Georgia,
yes, sir.
I believe, at the D2 level. Do you contribute to any of his mad scientist ways?
Just trying to make sure he don't go mad type thing. The big thing for us, and I think a credit to Scott, is that he wants feedback. He wants you to be included in what's going on. He wants your input in the game plan. And not everybody's like that from a coordinating standpoint. And so when we sit down and we game plan, it's literally he's going around the room and saying, okay, what do you think? What do you see? And really kind of putting it all together. Now, he does have veto power for sure.
Sure.
But at the same time, I think that's admirable to have a guy in the leadership position like that that's willing to get and take feedback, but also implement it in what we do from a game plan standpoint.
8-1, 5-0 in the league, 6 straight wins, a couple of them over top 25 teams. You almost hate to have the weekend off?
No, I can't say that. We need it as a team. Not us from a coaching standpoint as much, but definitely our guys. You know what I mean? They spill it. They've been spilling it all year long. We've been, going now since the end of July, because we were able to start camp early with the early game. And so, all of our bye weeks, we've been blessed that they've hit at the right time. And so this is a big one for us to get ready for this last stretch and be able to play for some important games in the month of November.
We got some important ones coming up
yes,
every
sir.
single week, as it turns out right
every
now.
One.
Cornerbacks coach Ricky Hundley, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate you coming out here tonight. This is the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. The head coach will be along in a moment. We'll have our Ask the Coach segment coming up a little bit later. You can always submit questions online at smumustangs.com during the week or with our staff here at Ozona Grill and Bar. And we'll talk to the head coach coming up next on the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. Welcome back to the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. I am Rich Phillips with you Wednesday night, 7 o'clock here at Ozona Grill and Bar. And let's hear it for the head coach of the 13th ranked SMU Mustangs, Rhett Lashley.
Has a good sound to it.
It does. Lucky number 13.
Yeah, that's right. That works. No, it was cool. Hey, obviously, how about Ricky Hunley? Great to have him. I mean, he's been just awesome in these 3 years. And he is right. Him and Scott are a good team, and he does. He keeps things calm when they need to be, on that defensive side. But just the way he's led our back end, because you just think about when we first got here, I remember the biggest thing is we had never been great on defense on the back end,
right.
And the way they've transformed our pass defense has been pretty cool.
48-25 Saturday night over Pitt. 6 straight wins, 8-1, 5-0, at a first-place tie with Miami in the ACC. The history says this has never been done. I mean, we've looked it up. No team going from Group of 5 to a power conference had done 2-0, much less 5-0. Come on now, you're exceeding your own expectations, right?
I don't know. We're right in the middle of it, so we haven't. Every now and then you get a little bit of a chance in a bye week like this to stop a little, but not really. And I think that's kind of been what's worked for us, for our staff, for our players, is we just kind of stay present and keep playing. And we don't talk about a lot of those things that often, and half the time we don't know them until you tell us. But it has been special to watch our guys, because that question now is starting to come up a lot more, and it is cool. I mean, it's cool to do something that's never been done before, or maybe do something better than others have ever done it. I think our kids just deserve a ton of credit. I mean, we had the breakthrough last year to win 11 games, win a championship kind of breakthrough deal, but then have so many of those guys that were able to return. And so I think you just have a veteran group coming back, and then the pieces that our staff brought in to add to that just fit right in to those guys and kind of bought into what we do. And, like I've told a lot of people, they've asked, how has that happened? I was like, I don't know. We didn't tell them they weren't supposed to be 5-0 in the conference. And they just go out and play, and they love to play. They love to compete together, and they just expect to win.
Not only were they able to return, they did, which isn't necessarily the way
true.
It is right now in this day and age of college football.
That's true. I think it says a lot about our coaching staff, or our entire staff. I think it says a lot about the players on our team, and just the camaraderie, the culture, the belief, and they have in each other. They're happy in Dallas. They're happy at SMU. They're happy playing here. And it's not a guarantee, but happy people win more.
Well, they had to be happy at halftime last Saturday, playing an undefeated team and up 31-3 at the break. That second quarter, it was an avalanche, it looked like, in so many ways. Right down to you stole 3 points at the end with your field goal kicker, too. And everything seemed to go your way in that second quarter. Yeah,
it was just a really good first half and an excellent second quarter. I thought it was probably our most complete game. Just all 3 phases, start to finish. Started fast. I think it was really important that our offense went down and scored. It's a big opening drive. It just kind of settles everyone down. Plus, especially the way the week had gone before, a guy like KJ made a few plays. We score, and then our defense just took over. And, I mean, that offense was averaging 40 points a game, and they had 3 points till like a minute left in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. And, when your defense is playing that way, it allows you offensively to be patient, to stay balanced, to run it, throw it, do whatever you need to do, feel okay punting the ball. We had a couple 3-and-outs there in that stretch, and your defense just keeps you with the lead, and so you're playing with a lot of confidence and loose on offense, and our guys were able to convert and score. And to your point, that second quarter was big. I mean, we scored a couple real quick in a flurry. It was weird. We had 2 different times in that game where we ran back-to-back offensive plays, and they were touchdowns. So we score on Roderick's touchdown on 3rd and goal. Our defense ends up holding them to a missed field goal in the first play. We're back on the field. Brashard scores. Yep. And then it happened again that way later in the fourth quarter with our last 2 scores. But I think just our defense controlled the game, and then the way we ended the half, get a sack, able to call a timeout, get a couple runs in, hit a throw to Jordan, and, we got a kicker who makes a lot of 50-yard field goals.
That was his 7th, which leads the country. He even defended field goal well, I guess.
Yeah.
That guy
Got
never
to
missed.
miss one, yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, we talked about it all week like a no-hitter. You know, he's not going to miss. He's never missed. He doesn't miss. He's not going to miss. And
got the jinx in.
It worked.
I thought a big difference in the game was fairly evident early on, and it was the tackling. And,
yes.
I mean, not to deride Pitt here, but, I mean, the second play of the game, they got Keyshawn horizontal to the ground, and he goes for 43 yards. And Junior probably should have been tackled, too, before he scored on that one
several
touchdown
times.
run. Yeah,
it was not a very good play call.
Not only that one, but the other one he had two that he got down to the 3. He probably should have been tackled.
Definitely.
But, man, there were hardly any missed tackles, I felt like, by your defense. And if somebody did – not quite get him down, there were 3 guys waiting behind him. And if you told me that y'all went live in practice every day last week, I'd have believed it the way they ran. I know you didn't, but I'd have believed it because of the way they played defensively.
I think you're right. And, you know, I mean, Roderick Daniels, you can't say enough. I mean, the only thing right about both of those play calls is we gave it to 13. Everything else was wrong. But, you know, I agree with you. You know, I think the explosive plays in the game was around 12-2. You know, coming into the game, they made a big deal about our offenses, and I think we were like 10.8 a game. They were like 9.9. I mean, anything over 9 is pretty good. And for our defense to hold that offense to only a couple explosive plays, you have to tackle well in space. And I thought over and over and over again, you saw our guys, whether it was Ahmad Moses or Brandon Crossley or Ahmad Walker. It felt like there was 3 Ahmad Walkers on the field most of the night. Deuce Harmon with a play. Like, they got him on the ground. And to your point, if not, they got him slowed down enough for everyone else to swarm and get there. And then, you look at Keyshawn's play, second play of the game. You look at Matt Hibner's play on third down and probably every other time Brashard touched it. Like, we were making somebody miss or beating a tackle, and that was the difference.
I saw today on Brashard Smith's 71-yard touchdown run, he was clocked at 22.1 miles per hour, the fastest speed of anybody in the nation this week.
Yeah, that's young Ricky Hundley speed.
Yeah.
22 miles an hour. He was moving, and it's funny. He hit it, and he kind of started to hit downfield, and it was at a scenario where the 2 guys had an angle, and I think we said out loud, "Trust your speed," because a lot of times guys will feel that and they'll stop or something. Right. It's like, man, just trust your speed. You may not get there. And he did, and they didn't catch him, which was great. And 22 miles an hour is rolling. You know, we do a deal every week. Grizz kind of tracks him. Him and his team tracks their speed, and he was the fastest guy of the week for us as well. But we had about 8 or 9 guys over 20 miles an hour for the game, and so that was pretty cool. Matthew Hibner was 20.5 on his.
Okay, so when Brashard broke out, I was pretty sure he was going. I'll tell you honestly, when Matt broke through, Matt Hibner, on it, because it was about midfield, I think he was by everybody, and I went back and listened to this, I said, let's see what kind of speed the big tight end has, because we didn't know.
Well, he showed us all.
He did. Where you been hiding this guy?
Yeah, I was starting to think about what play am I going to call from the 25, you know, and next thing I know, he's running in the end zone. So,
where you been hiding him?
We haven't been hiding him, you know. We just finally let him loose.
Yeah, you ended up with 3 catches for 108 yards and that 80-yard touchdown in the game. Back to Brashard. So on the year, 906 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's the most rushing touchdowns since Ulysses Bentley had 11 in 2020. And he's 94 yards from the first 1,000-yard season since Xavier Jones in 2019. And those are nothing to sneeze at. This would only be the 20th 1,000-yard season in SMU history.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, he's been awesome. He's provided great balance for our offense. We've been banged up in the running back room, you know, with both Kamar Wheaton and Jalen Knighton being lost early for the year. LJ's been in and out with some just nagging things. And for him to come in and just give us consistency, explosion in the run game, I mean, he's averaging, I think, 6.5 yards a carry. That's really good. And, he's a problem, and he's really versatile. I mean, you see it on his touchdown catch. But, yeah, it'd be great. Get 1,000 yard back. And, I mean, I think it just shows that the maturity our unit has made running the football.
Yeah, his touchdown catch looked like a wide receiver out there. And, by the way, pretty awesome play by the quarterback, too, I thought.
It was really good. And, you know, I think it's an example. There was a couple of examples in that game of Kevin's maturity, Kevin's comfort level and who he is, because – look, we really didn't have a lot of doubts about Kevin bouncing back from that game. We really didn't. It wasn't just trying to say the right thing. I mean, I was totally tired of talking about it and answering a question. But
I could tell.
but like We see him all the time, and we've seen all his games. Like, we've never seen that, right? So, okay, this is a blip. But it's still, the psychology of sports is real. And if you're him and you're coming off of that and 5 turnovers and all, and for him to not only respond and play the way he did, but that play to Brashard, it's 3rd and goal from the 3 or 4, and I probably told him 5 times before we left the huddle, hey, be smart. If it's not there, we can kick it or whatever, probably more than I should have. And he extends it, and he's able to stay aggressive the right way and throw a touchdown pass. And then later in the second half, when we messed up and had to settle for a field goal, still he scrambles, and he's got Roderick Daniels. And I bet you half the time he's throwing him a touchdown pass. But he doesn't force it. He throws it away. We kick the field goal. Like, you could just see, some maturity there.
Sometimes 4th down isn't the worst down, as long as it's not 1st down for them.
Yeah, okay. That works.
See?
I like that.
It's not the worst down when you get there, as long as you save the ball. All right, we got a few other things we'll talk about here in a moment, including the big game announcement and rankings, because it's the only rankings you told us last week that you were concerned about. This is the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. Reminder, no game this week. So a week from Saturday, we'll be back at Ford Stadium, 2:30 kick against Boston College. That'll be on ESPN, TV-wise, and 96.7 and 1310, the ticket radio-wise. The Boulevard is back. Simplify your tailgate planning and upgrade your game day at the biggest games this season. Full-service tailgates are selling fast. Contact Rebel XP at 214-935-1683 or at rebelxp.com for more information. Yeah, we don't get the SMU TV network next week.
I know, man. That ACC network crew's been good to us.
Wow,
huh?
man, we've seen a lot of them, haven't we?
Man, we sure have. And they've been fantastic and just done a really good job introducing SMU to the ACC.
All right. Pretty big game announcement that came out today.
Pretty cool.
Yes, 2026. SMU will play at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Of course, they play about 5 ACC games per year. These are scheduled out till 2037.
Yes.
So you're not just slipping in there. Virginia wanted out because they're going to do a home-and-home with West Virginia.
Yep.
You ever been there?
I've not.
Me neither.
I have not. That's a big deal because, that's part of the ACC scheduling deal is Notre Dame will play 5 ACC teams a year, so they're on a rotation. Well, we're new to the league. So, like us, Stanford and Cal, Stanford plays them every year anyway. So us and Cal aren't exactly into that rotation. And so, they did the whole new schedule format for the next 7 years, all that. But that was the one piece they hadn't worked out. So we still weren't sure, when we would be playing or, going to or playing Notre Dame. And we found out a couple weeks back that was going to happen. It just worked out. Virginia needed to play West Virginia. They needed a game. And we had a hole in our 26 schedule that allowed it. And so that'll be cool. And, we got someone on our staff, Maurice Crum. He's pretty excited about that one. He was only a 2-time captain at Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah?
So,
that's all?
He's really fired up about that one, yeah.
Last time we saw him was 1989. First year back from the death penalty. I'll just tell you, it didn't go well.
Okay.
SMU did beat him in the 84 Aloha Bowl.
Okay.
And did you know how Notre Dame Stadium opened?
You're going to tell me.
1930. A 20-14 Notre Dame win over SMU.
Really?
They played the first ever game at Notre Dame Stadium.
Did we really?
Yeah.
How about that?
I didn't know that either until today.
That's impressive. All right.
That is quite the non-conference slate, by the way, over the next couple of years, because this will be a non-conference game.
It will be. Yep.
You got Baylor, TCU next year, Baylor and Notre Dame now in 26, and then Oklahoma in 27.
Yeah, and there's some other ones that haven't been popped out there yet. So, we're going to have a real schedule now. I messed up for the first couple of years, said we'll play anybody, anywhere, Walmart parking lot, whatever, and dadgum if they didn't take me up on it. So
we've had a pretty good schedule this year, too, because, we haven't played 10 power conference schools in a long time in one season, and so it's been a pretty big ramp-up this year, too.
It has been, and, our guys have handled it just incredibly well. Been really proud of them. And
because of the way they've handled it at 8-1, the first CFP rankings come out last night. Best polls that we had coming out last night, definitely, as SMU is 13th in the opening CFP. One spot behind Boise State, which means we're kind of on the outside looking in at the moment.
Yeah.
In fact, the top 13 in the CFP, it mirrored the AP poll, except Ohio State second and Georgia third in the CFP. Feel good there at 13?
Yeah, I think, look, what was really cool is the first time they've ever had a 12-team playoff, the first poll release ever on that first page, you see SMU on there. That's pretty cool. And, I think it's just an exciting time for our school to know that we're going to play on November 16th, literally in the middle of November. We're going to play a football game when we're in contention for the college football playoff and for the ACC championship, and with a lot of football left to play. But, we put ourselves in that position, and that's a big deal for our team. It's a big deal for our school and our fan base, and so that part of it's really cool. I think we're in a good position. I mean, look, it doesn't matter if we were 3rd, 13th, or 18th. You got to keep winning. Yeah. And so, but I do think that, there was a lot of respect shown to our program. We are one of only, I think, 5 schools that has beaten 2 or 3 teams that are, I think, 3 bowl-eligible teams, and we've got 2 top 25 wins. Our only loss is obviously to a top 10 team. So we have a good resume, and so that's a positive. If you look at it, we're 13, 14, 15, 16. It's 3 SEC teams that are pretty good. So, like I said, I thought that the Mustangs got some good respect, and so now we got to go out and back it up.
I mean, if you win 4 more, it doesn't matter, right?
Correct.
You're in.
Yeah, we're in control of it. We don't have to worry about anybody else. We don't have to worry about anybody like we did last year.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely the position you put yourself in. Obviously, your players have to know this.
Yep.
We talk about this, I think, every week, but just focus one at a time. It has to get harder each week. Because, when we saw the Clemson score last week, they lost to Louisville, of course, right about close to the end of our game, I think.
Yeah, they put it on the scoreboard in the fourth quarter.
You got a pretty big cheer, as a matter of fact, when it went up.
Yeah.
That's got to make it harder and harder to keep these guys tunnel focused.
It does, yeah. So it's getting harder and harder to hide reality from them. But, look, they're smart. They know what's going on. Like, even last week, I never once told them it was a big game. We didn't talk about it being a top 20 matchup. They knew it was a big game. You don't have to tell them. And that's good. Like I said, we're in a good place. They know each game is important. So, we talked about it a little bit Monday, just addressed it briefly. I'm talking 10 seconds today that, yeah, we're ranked. That's great. And then we're just going to focus on the task at hand, and really that's it. Right now we're competing against ourselves every week, and we got a really good opponent in about 10 days. And if we keep doing what we've done up to this point, then we'll have a chance to keep liking the results.
It's weird the way this has all worked out because now the conferences are so large.
Yeah.
With 17 here in the ACC, we've got 18 in a couple of the leagues. Had that not happened last week with Clemson losing, I mean, if everybody keeps winning, there's going to be a mess at the end to figure out who was in a conference championship game.
Yeah, and it may still be for a lot of. I mean, there's all 4 of the main conferences. We have a lot of tight races at the top. Whether it's the top 2 or 3 or the top 6 in your league. There's a lot of scenarios over the last 3 or 4 weeks that can play out. And it's just good to know that the Mustangs, if we win, then we know what's going to happen.
It's great to know we're having this conversation on November 6th.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. We look forward to having more of these conversations as the weeks go here on the Pony Express Show with Rhett Lashley. Time now for our Ask the Coach segment. It is brought to you by the Cox School of Business. Making a career pivot from the military to the business world can be drastic, but an MBA from the SMU Cox School of Business can help you do it right. Learn how SMU Cox helps military veterans learn the language of business at smu.edu/Cox/Pony Express. First up here, on the bye week this week, Boston College is playing, of course, on TV. Do you prefer your players watch it together as a group, individually, or even watch it at all? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Now I had a coach, my high school coach. He's coaching at Central Florida now. That we would be watching that thing as a team this Saturday. we would think we're going to have a lot of fun. We'd be ordering food and all that, and we'd just be the best time ever. And not one player would want to be there. So. We do a lot of forced family fun at our place, but that's not going to be one of them. So I bet a lot of them are watching it or aware of it. Same thing with our staff. At the same time, they know they're going to see plenty of film this week. They're going to see definitely plenty of film in the office next week. So if we miss it, we know we're going to see it.
I wonder sometimes how many other games do guys watch?
I bet everybody's different. You probably think like football coach, like you get a Saturday. Now we usually sit around and watch football.
Yeah.
We like to watch other people struggle every now and then. And go, man, I'm so glad that's not me today.
I'm right there with you. I like to watch that sometimes too. As a head coach, what are 2 systems you have implemented, if any, that you believe have contributed to the success of your team?
Who's going to claim that one? And really, I'm just stalling. Okay, very good. What are 2 systems that we have implemented that contributes to the success of our team? Man, okay. Well, I'll go with let's say the first one I just referenced. It's a broad answer, but we call it Force Family Fun. The number one thing that we start with in our program, we talk about family, we talk about competitive excellence, hard work, and being finishers. And the whole family thing is a buzzword that can get overused, but we try to make it real and make it about relationships. And it's hard when you got 120 players. You can't – the relationships are different with everybody, but that's why we have a big staff, and our staff's all a part of it. But whether we start afresh once we get into once February hits, you kind of launch the next year's team. February, March, whether it's on Wednesday mornings having breakfast with our positions, whether it's taking them to a movie, whether it's going to play paintball, whether it's going and doing a little kids youth camp, and all in between. We just try to do stuff either with the staff and the players, or definitely the players, because the more you're around each other. So we call it Force Family Fun, because just like my kids, if I tell them we're going to all go do something, they don't ever want to do it. They don't agree. But then when we get there, they have a lot of fun. And so, hey, we're all going to get on a bus and go play paintball. They don't want to do that. They want their own time to just go sit and stare at their phone and just swipe, right? Mm-hmm. But we take them, and by the time we get there, they're just having a blast. And so I think that's one thing that we've done that's kind of helped create maybe a not such an uptight culture, and guys get to know each other really well. Well, we got a lot of things we do. I'm just trying to narrow it down. I think another thing that we do that's really cool, and we're not unique to this. I think a lot of people probably do this. Well, we celebrate our wins, though. We celebrate our wins because it's hard to win. And a lot of times in this business, when you win, you can just be relieved you didn't lose. And then when you lose, the whole week stinks. I mean, it's just terrible till the next game. And we win. As a staff, we celebrate it, but then we come back in. Sunday's their day off, so we kind of start working on next opponent. But Monday morning, we celebrate the win. We watch a highlight of guys doing well. But what we do is we also highlight our scout team, our look team, the guys that you don't see on Saturday, making all the plays. When Jafari Harvey jumps over the O-line at Duke and blocks the kick to win it, nobody saw Paris Patterson giving him the look in practice earlier that week. And so, we have scout team players of the week, and then those guys get to dress, but then we show highlights of them in practice going against our offense, defense, or teams giving us a look as well. So we just try to celebrate the win and make sure everybody's a part of it.
Next up here on Ask the Coach, great defenses have had nicknames. Cowboys had the Doomsday Defense, Nebraska the Black Shirts, A&M the Wrecking Crew. I can even remember.
I'm excited about this.
I can even remember the old Orange Crush for the Denver Broncos in the 70s and 80s. Does your defense have a nickname?
Yes, of course it does. Now look, I don't know if I created it. I'm going to take credit for it. Ricky can tell you if it existed before here, because I've been saying it for 3 years. I was a marketing major. The Simon Says defense. Like, what are we talking about here? We got Club Takeaway. That's a part of it, and all. Yeah, the Simon Says defense. How good is that?
We're going to start working that in on the radio. Trust me.
I mean, I think we should have shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff. We'd make a lot of money.
Let's
what I mean? Like the Boulevard Collective should be using it for NIL fundraising.
I love
Get your
it.
Simon Says defense hat. He's going to be so mad about that. But that's – anyways, and Ricky can tell you all the truth. That may have been a deal at Liberty. I don't know. It's don't miss your layups.
There you go. Let's see. What's been for you the best part of this P4 transition? Maybe a favorite singular moment for you so far this season.
It'd be hard to narrow them down, and we're right in the middle of it, so there hadn't been a lot of reflection. But I can say without question, Ford Stadium on Saturdays. It's not even close.
Yeah.
And just sharing it with the entire SMU family and seeing everyone there. Like, I just think of, and all of our home games have been great, but I think of the last 3 specifically. Basically Pitt, Florida State, and TCU were all full, all sold out. Our students are there when we come out. Our fans are there at the beginning of the game. They're loud. you can feel it in the stadium, and then just hearing our players mention it and talk about how important it is to them and how much they appreciate it. The guys that have been here a long time, like Justin Osborne or Roderick Daniels or Isaiah Wachovia or Brandon Crossley, guys that have not seen it that way.
Yeah.
Will tell you, like, I never thought I'd see this. And, we talk a lot about making this jump to the ACC, like, hey, as a team, as a program, as a school, we need to seize the moment. We had to seize the moment as a fan base, and we have. And so it's been everybody. Everybody's been all in on this thing together. That's been the best part.
The one that really struck me in Saturday's game was every time it was third down on defense.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. And I don't know what they do on PA to get them hyped up, if they're doing anything on PA, but the crowd, you guys were into it every time, whether it was 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 12.
Yeah.
It was noticeable, trust me, when that happened.
Well,
it was noticeable plenty of other times, but
yeah.
that was one that stood out to me.
But that's part of what we're growing to and we're developing is a home field advantage is a big deal. There's a reason in college football, Clemson lost their first game at home at night since 2013 last week.
Yeah, I know.
You know why? Because that thing is full and crazy.
Absolutely.
Whether they're ahead, behind, at the beginning of the first quarter, at the end of the fourth quarter, nonstop. They've had some good teams.
Sure.
But it matters. And the times it matters is when you're at home, third down defense, all those kind of things. We don't need it that loud when we're on offense.
Right.
But no, that's been really cool.
And it's fun when the U.S. Open champ is in the student section
That doesn't
with
hurt.
the trophy.
That doesn't hurt. Talk about being distracted. You run out, you grab your headset, and Bryce is standing there with his trophy. You're like, hey, man, what's up? Like,
Then he was in the student section with
oh,
the
I
thing
know.
later. It's crazy.
Glad we gave him a reason to go have a good time.
All right, last two here.
That looks like hieroglyphics on there.
First one, why did you want to be the head coach of SMU?
It's coming from that little table over there.
That would be Rowan.
Yeah. Why did I want to be the head coach at SMU? Because I'd been here before. I'd seen SMU. I'd been a part of what we kind of started building here, and I knew what SMU and Dallas could do and the people. So it was an easy one.
And then Scarlett wants to know what we're going to do during the bye week.
Yeah. Whatever she tells me to do. Have a feeling that we'll jump on the trampoline and probably have to go to the gas station. That's our going to Disney World because there's unlimited candy.
Yeah, that one came up last time as I questioned
yeah.
gas station.
Yeah, so I don't know. She'll tell me, and I'll probably say yes, ma'am.
All right, sounds good. There's our Ask the Coach segment for this week. Should let you know, Red has a prior engagement next Wednesday, but we will still have a show next Wednesday. As a matter of fact, Athletic Director Rick Hart is going to join me here on the show, along with linebackers coach Maurice Crum, so be sure you come back out next Wednesday night, 7
You get
o'clock.
to talk to him about the Notre Dame deal.
I do.
Yeah.
We will have to work that one in. And
It's only 2 years away.
that's okay. We're excited about
It's
it.
actually a short amount of time in college football scheduling.
It is. We'll also talk to him about Boston College. Yeah. We're going to talk to you briefly here about Boston College. I'm sure you haven't done a full scout on them, but you know some about them. It's our Meet the Enemy segment brought to you by Ozona Grill and Bar on Greenville Avenue with the best patio in town and happy hour from 4 to 7 every Sunday through Friday. Specials including free chips and salsa. Ozona Grill and Bar, find your comfort zone. It's next Saturday, 2:30 at Ford Stadium, SMU and Boston College. The Eagles are 4-4, 1-3 in the league. They are hosting Syracuse this weekend. Of course, we're familiar with BC from last December. We saw way too much of Thomas Castellanos in that Fenway Bowl, did we not?
Did.
They've kind of changed a little bit more of what he's doing this year. They've got him throwing the ball a lot more in the system, aren't they?
They have changed what they're doing, but he's still there, and he's still hard to tackle. And, I think, you got a new staff. You got someone like Bill O'Brien who – he's just ran the offenses for national championship teams at Alabama and for Tom Brady. So
that's all.
He's been a head coach in the NFL. He's been a head coach at Penn State. Like, he's a really good football coach. And you can, their record's 4-4. There's a lot of good 4-4 teams. We play one, or last week's 4-4 in Cal that is 3 field goals away from being 7-1. So, the records sometimes give people a perception. I think this is a better version of their team last year. Early in the year they had a couple big wins. They play really good defense. They're one of the top defenses in our league. They have one of the top pass rushers in our league. I think he's around double-digit sacks. They play NFL-style defense, multiple in their coverages, multiple in their fronts. And they play the game hard and tough. And they don't give up a lot of points. Their games aren't high-scoring games mostly. And then you just think they went to Missouri and almost beat Missouri at Missouri this year. They did beat Michigan State and some others. So, and then offensively, again, it's a different scheme. They can run the ball better, a little more, what the older pro-style approach. But Castellano still, when he's healthy, he's a problem. Much like Kevin extends plays a lot for us. He's a challenge for us defensively.
He has a great touchdown to interception, 17-4 this year on that ratio. Only has rushed for 204 yards, but they've given up a lot of sacks too. That obviously has to affect his rush numbers. Do you even look at the tape from last year, or do you solely go off what Bill O'Brien's got him doing this year?
I'm sure our coaches have. I have not looked at the tape from last year because I kind of want to never look at that tape from last year. But from a personnel standpoint, yes, you will look at it a little more. It's recent enough you kind of remember how we matched up from a standpoint of just personnel. They're big. They're even bigger now than they were last year. They're a big team. Their front seven on defense is big. Their O-line's big. Obviously, they got a quarterback that's a problem. So there's a lot of carryover probably for both of us. Now we're both different. They brought in some new guys with the new staff. Obviously, we brought in some new guys. But yeah, they beat us.
You mentioned their defensive end, Donovan Ezaraku. He is 4th in the nation with 9 sacks, has 12 tackles for loss. He does a little bit of everything, though. I don't recall ever this late in the season seeing a defensive end that led his team in tackles overall. He does a little bit of everything for them, doesn't he?
He's a really skilled player, Probably the best defensive end we played this year was at Stanford. He's comparable to him in terms of a pass rusher, but to your point, he's more of an all-around player. Think of what Elijah Roberts does for our defense. He's that, and again, he's a disruptive guy that you got to account for.
That's what it's about up front, being disruptive, causing havoc. Yep. Our guys do it pretty well too, don't they?
They sure do. What was cool about last week is we had 6 different players on our defensive line that had 3 or more pressures. 6 different players had 3 or more pressures. Isaiah Smith had 7. So they did a really good job being disruptive and making Pitt's quarterback uncomfortable.
Yeah, because Jared Harrison-Hunt, he had the sack, but he caused the Jafari Harvey strip sack, I think, too, did he not? He pushed him up at the bottom.
Those guys, yeah. And that's what's cool about that group is, we don't have one guy with the big sack numbers, but they are always contributing. Again, going into that game last week, Elijah Roberts led the country in pressures. It's just a really good team pass rush unit we got.
All right, so it is next Saturday, 2:30 kick at Ford Stadium against Boston College. It's on ESPN. I'll have it on 96.7 and 1310 the ticket. Again, Rhett will not be here next week. We will think about you, and we'll talk all kinds of secrets about you behind your back.
Good.
And be sure you're out here next week. Rick Hart, again, will be joining us on the show. There's been a lot of good stuff going on in the ACC for SMU.
A lot of good stuff, and like I said, we're just fired up. Mid-November, we're playing a lot of games that are important and matter. Be fun.
They do. They are. A lot of fun when you're 8-1 and 13th in the nation. All right, be sure you're back here next Wednesday night for another edition of the Pony Express Show without Rhett Lashley.
The Pony Express Show with head coach Rhett Lashley has been presented by SMU Cox School of Business, your ally for life, and hosted at Ozona Grill and Bar on Greenville Avenue. Find your comfort zone. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Mustangs Sports Network.